Good afternoon, boys and girls, mommies and daddies, and grandmommies and grandpuppies. And a special hello to Caden and Zach. I hope they're able to watch. Um, Today's adventure is summer fun. What can we do this summer? Now, you know, the boys and girls, they have a little routine, what they do. And they had a new little girl join them, remember? Wanda Wolf. You know what Mrs. Piggy did. Oh my goodness gracious. Those boys' mama, she is such a sweet lady. She knew that they were going to start up on their summer things that they like to do. And she had just enough material left over when she made the girls the bags to put over their shoulder and to carry all their stuff in. Remember that? And she had just enough material left to make a bag for Wanda so she could be just like the other girls. And they made a bag for Whiskers. So he had a bag just like the boys did. Well, she got the bags all ready, and she told Piggly and Wiggly and Squiggly to make sure that they came by the house before they went to the tree, and actually before they went, period, out to the water or wherever else they were going to go. Excuse me. And so they did. They didn't know what Mama had in mind either. They just knew that Mama said to bring the kids by the house. Well, not only did she have a bag for Wanda and a bag for Whiskers, she had an apple for each one of them. And then she had went out that morning and picked, well, early that morning, because they were going in the morning, she had picked 2 tangerines for each kid and an orange for each kid. And she packed a lollipop, a peppermint stick like you have for Christmas. The peppermint that looked like a cane. Well, you don't have to have one that looks like a cane. You can have any kind of a peppermint stick. But you know what you do with them, boys and girls? You have Mommy and Daddy help you to peel a little bit of round skin off at the very top of the orange. And then you take the knife and you poke a hole in that area that you peeled off. GrandMommy sometimes cannot describe things. And then you stick your peppermint down in that hole, and you suck on the other end of the peppermint, and you actually get the juice, and it tastes like orange juice, peppermint juice. Oh, it's so good. Woo. You try that next time. Have Mama buy you an apple or a orange, and have Mama cut the top rind off, and then get a peppermint and stick it down in there and go suck, 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 suck. Oh, it's so good. So they all got to the house, and she gave them out the oranges and the tangerines and the peppermint sticks. And she says, now, I'm sorry, but I haven't met you yet, I don't think. If I did, I forgot your name. So what is your name now again, sweetheart? And Wanda says, I'm Wanda Wolf, and this is my brother, Whiskers Wolf. And Mommy Piggy says, well, I'm so glad to know you, boys and girls. And you are twins, aren't you? Wow, you look just alike. That's amazing. And Wanda just smiled, you know, and she didn't know what to say. And so Patty Pig says, Mommy Pig, do you have any kind of material that you could make Wanda and Whiskers a bag like you made us last year? And Mrs. Piggy, she laughed and she laughed and she laughed, and she says, well, you know what, Patty Pig, I just happen to have some material left. And if you boys and girls will have a seat for just a minute, I'll go get it. And Squiggly says, but Mommy, it's going to take you so long to make a bag or two. And she says, just wait a minute, just wait a minute. Well, she goes upstairs to her bedroom where her sewing machine was. She already had made the bags, but the boys didn't know that yet. They hadn't seen the bags in her bedroom. So she brings them down and she says, is this what you wanted? And Squiggly says, oh, Mommy, you keep surprising us all the time. And Piggly and Wiggly says, yeah, you sure do, Mama. And Patty Pig says, oh, she said, that is wonderful. She said, now we can all look alike and we've got a bag to carry our stuff in. She says, I told Wanda what to bring. Did you bring everything, Miss Wanda, like I told you to? And Wanda and Whiskers both said, yes, we did. We got our bathing suit. We got our lunch. And now we have special things to eat from your mama. And she looks at Piggly. He looks at Wanda's talking, I think. And so she looks at Piggly and Wiggly, and she says, oh, Mrs. Pig, thank you very much for the nice bags to put our stuff in. I was getting kind of tired carrying all this stuff. And Mommy Piggy says, well, now, first of all, Wanda, you can call me Mama Piggy, just like Patty did. Now, Patty is no relation to us. She's from another family of pigs. But I've told all the boys and girls that they can call me Mommy Piggy. Well, Allie the alligator, he spoke up. He said, yes, you can. She's a sweet lady. And my mama said that she even calls her Mama Piggy. Wow. So they said their goodbyes and they go down the road. And so Squiggly says, okay, what are we going to do today? What's the first thing on our list that we're going to do today? I don't remember. Does anybody know what we're going to do today? And Allie the alligator spoke up and he said, you know, I just realized something. Do you know why we're so quiet today? And Wiggly says, well, I didn't know we were quiet, but we are a little quiet, aren't we? You know what? Little Bad Wolf was not in the group. Where did Little Bad Wolf go? And Squiggly says, well, I thought he was coming with us because I thought I saw him when you all came up to the house. So they decided to go to Little Bad Wolf's house, which you know is Mr. Farmer Brown and Mrs. Farmer Brown's house. Well, inside the house, Mrs. Farmer Brown was serving Mr. Farmer Brown another cup of coffee, a second cup of coffee. And with that, Little Bad Wolf flew in the back door and the screen door slammed behind him and he flew up the stairs and he says, where is it, where is it, where is it? And Mrs. Piggy says, where is what, dear? Little Bad Wolf, where is what? What are you hunting for? He says, I forgot my bag. I forgot my bag that Mommy Piggy made for me. Oh dear, I've got to find my bag because if I don't find my bag, then I got to carry all this stuff in my hands. And then he says, and then Piggy and Wiggly and Squiggly, they'll be mad at me. I've got to find my bag. Can you come and help me, please? Please, Mama, please, Mrs. Farmer Brown, please, can you come and help me? Well, Mrs. Farmer Brown says, of course I can. And she went up the stairs. And poor Little Bad Wolf, he's just throwing clothes out of the dresser drawers just as fast as he can throw because he's trying to get down to the bottom of the drawer to find that bag that Mrs. Piggy made last year, Mommy Piggy. Well, Mrs. Farmer Brown, Mrs. Farmer Brown, had seen the bag in one of the drawers when she was putting away some of his clothes after she washed them. And she didn't know what it was. She didn't realize that Mommy Piggy had made bags for all the boys and girls, but she thought it was a pretty neat little bag. It had pockets inside, It was just a nice bag, and it had a nice, good shoulder strap that you could put over your shoulder so you could have both hands free. It was a really nice bag. And I remember I made a bag kind of similar to that for my grandson to put his computer in when he went to the doctor, because he liked to play on the computer before the doctor called his name. So, you know, you can make these bags several different ways. Well, Mrs. Farmer Brown was not sure what it was because it was kind of dirty. It hadn't been washed, and she thought, well, maybe I better wash this and surprise Little Bad Wolf. Oh, so she had taken it downstairs that day, and Mr. Farmer Brown came in at that same time, and he said, Mrs. Farmer Brown, honey, what do you have in your hands? And she says, well, it's a little bag. Well, it's not little, but it's a bag, and it's made nicely, but it's all dirty, and so I thought it must meant something to Little Bad Wolf. Maybe it was something special that he carried since he was a baby, and that was why it was dirty, so I thought I would come down and wash it. He said, well, that's nice of you. He said, now I want a second cup of coffee. And so she says, okay, just a minute. She says, you can pour me one while you're at it. Well, Mr. Farmer Brown wanted her to pour his. He didn't want to have to get up because he had worked already for a couple of hours out in the barn. Already he'd been working. And he got up and he poured himself a cup of coffee, a second cup, and he poured Mrs. Farmer Brown a second cup. And meanwhile, she's putting the bag in with some other clothes and turned the washer on. Well, about that time, about maybe 5 or 10 minutes later, here comes Little Bad Wolf. He ran through that door, like I said. That screen door slammed behind him, and he's up the stairs. And like I said, when Mrs. Farmer Brown got upstairs, he was throwing clothes out of each drawer trying to find the bag. And so she says, what are you looking for? And he says, I gotta find my bag. I gotta find my bag. And she thought, uh-oh, that bag. That's what I put in the wash machine. And I got it. When did I go? I've had it downstairs on top of the wash machine for 2 days, and I haven't washed. Oh my gosh, what am I going to tell him? So she says, well, Little Bad Wolf, she said, your bag's downstairs. And he looks at her and he says, how did it get downstairs? And she says, well, when I put some of your clothes away the other day that I had washed, she says, I saw the bag and it was all dirty. She says, I didn't even want to pick it up. She says, it was dirty. She says, so I thought I'd be a nice mommy and wash it for you. Oh! And he runs down the stairs and he runs into the laundry room and he goes, oh, I can see it in there. When's it going to be finished? And she says, well, not for a while yet, at least a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, because we got to dry it. Oh. She says, I tell you what. She said, what are you going to do first? And he says, well, I don't know, Mommy. I don't know what we're going to do first. And Mrs. Farmer Brown says, well, you've got your nice watch on that your aunt, who was it that gave you that watch? Oh, yes, your Aunt Peaches gave you that watch. Now, Aunt Peaches is Mrs. Farmer Brown's sister. She's not a wolf. So he says, that's right, Aunt Peaches. And I can text on it, can't I? She said, yes, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to text me when you get to the lake, and if you leave for some reason early, I want you to text me. But I will text you when the bag is clean and dried, and then I'll bring it to you because it's my fault that you don't have it. So you can leave all your stuff here if you want to. You don't have to carry it. Just carry your swim trunks in case you do that first. He says, well, I might need my book. And she says, not in the water. You're not going to need your book, boy. And he kind of smiled and he says, I guess not. He says, well, I need my lunch. And she says, all right, I don't have it. I'm sorry, boys and girls. Siriana, I need to call you right back, sweetheart. I'm doing the Piggly Wiggly Squiggly story.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. She just took her driving test today. Or yesterday. Today. Today's Wednesday. She just took her driving test Wednesday. Woohoo! So, anybody that's out there driving, if you see a little blue car coming at you, you better move out of the way. So, little bad wolf, he finally understood that everything was going to be okay, that Mama was going to bring him his little bag, his satchel bag. So he runs out the door. He says, thank you, Mommy, thank you, thank you, thank you. And she says, I'll be there as quick as I can, sweetheart. He says, okay, I'll let you know what we're doing. And off down the road he runs. And coming up the road were the rest of the boys and girls, because they were going to go back to his house and say, I thought I saw you. Where did you run off to? But they didn't have to. They met each other in the middle. And so Squiggly, of course, said, what happened? Why did you were with us when you came to the house? And he said, yes, I was. But he says, I remembered. He says, I forgot my bag. It's been so long since we've had a summer to play like this. He says, I forgot my bag. And I got tired of carrying all my stuff. And he says, so I ran back home to find it. And Piggly says, you don't have all your stuff in your hands and you don't have a bag all around your shoulder. He says, well, what's going on? And so, of course, little bad wolf, he told all the boys and girls what a nice mama that he had, because since he was adopted and he, that wasn't his real mommy. And they said, oh, she sounds so nice and she's going to bring your bag to you. And he says, yes, I've left everything on the table and she's going to pack my bag and bring it to me. He said, so, boys and girls, he says, can we go swimming first? Because he said, I got my swimming trunks on underneath my jeans. And he says, she thinks we're going to be down here and she's going to call me and let me know. Excuse me. She's going to call me and let me know if it's ready to come. Oh, sorry. And so, well, hello, Kristen. Thank you for watching. So he told her. He says, told the kids. He says, and she's going to bring it down here to me. He says, so can we go swimming first? And that boys and girls said, yes, let's go, because it's going to be hot pretty soon, and we want to be up in the tree when it's hot. And poor little Wanda Wolf, she's looking kind of scared, and she said, I don't know how to climb a tree. I've never climbed a tree before. What? Oh, I guess I'm going to have to go home. And so Allie the alligator and Little Bad Wolf says, no, we are the official people that puts you up in the tree if you can't climb it. He says, you'll be okay. And Whisker says, well, I'm littler than Wanda, even though we're twins. I'm smaller, and so can you help me up too? And both Allie the alligator and Little Bad Wolf says, of course we will. So they breathe a sigh of relief. Well, all the girls had their little swimming suits on underneath their clothes, and so they took their little shirts and their little jeans shorts off and folded them up real nice and put them in their bag, and they was ready to go swimming. Oh my goodness gracious, they hadn't been in that water for a whole school year. Now, further on down, that's where Piggly, Wiggly, and Squiggly, and Little Bad Wolf, and sometimes Allie the alligator, where they go fishing. But it's pretty far down. So up here was the right height to go into, and It was just a perfect place to go into the water and have a good time. So they played for about a half an hour, and all of a sudden, Little Bad Wolf's fancy watch that was waterproof, it buzzed and it buzzed, and he says, "Oh, oh, oh," and he stood up out of the water and he goes, "Hello, Mama," because it was Mrs. Farmer Brown. And she said, "Hi, sweetheart." She said, "Where are you at? Are you still at the lake?" And he said, "Yes, ma'am, we are." She says, "I'm going to bring your bag to you. It's all packed." She says, "Just stay there for a few minutes and I'll be right down." Well, it was too far to walk from their house to the lake. Of course, it wasn't really too far to walk for kids, you know. But it was too short to drive the car down. And she says, "Mr. Farmer Brown, sweetheart." He says, "Yes, Mrs. Farmer Brown, honey, what do you want?" And she says, "Well, there's a bicycle in the barn. Does it have air in the tires?" He said, "No," but he says, "I'll put some air in real quick for you." She said, "Would you please?" She says, "And it still has a basket on the front, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, the basket's still on the front." She says, "Well, I'm going to go take Little Bad Wolf's bag. It's dry now, and I'm going to pack it all with the stuff that he left here on the table, and I'm going to take it to him, and I want to ride my bicycle." Mr. Farmer Brown says, "You know what, Mrs. Farmer Brown, honey? I think that's a good idea. And you know what? My bike is out there too. I think I'm going to go with you. Wouldn't that be fun? We haven't had a fun bike ride for a long time." And she goes, "Oh, we haven't, have we?" "Okay," she says, "let's do that. And won't Little Bad Wolf be surprised when we show up on our bicycles? He's going to laugh." And Mr. Farmer Brown says, "Now, Mrs. Farmer Brown, sweetheart, he's not going to laugh at us. Now, I know who's going to laugh at us." And she said, "Who?" He said, "Piggly and Patty Pig. You know how they are." And she goes, "Uh-oh, we're going to surprise them, aren't we?" So off she ran to get a good pair of shoes on and comb her hair, and off he went to the barn to make sure that both bicycles had air in the tires. Well, of course, they needed air, but it didn't take him very long, because they needed air because they hadn't been ridden since last summer, you know. So they got on their bicycles and they pedaled as hard as they could, and they got down to the lake. And sure enough, Piggly turned around and he looked down, and there was Mr. Farmer Brown and Mrs. Farmer Brown coming down the little hill out to the lake. And he goes, "Patty Pig, look who's coming." And he and Patty Pig just laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And Little Bad Wolf says, "What's so funny about that? I like to ride a bicycle and I had fun." And so Squiggly says, "No, Little Bad Wolf, you know, they're not laughing at you, and they're not laughing at Mr. Farmer Brown and Mrs. Farmer Brown. You know that. You know how they are. They laugh all the time." And Little Bad Wolf says, "Yeah, that's right. Okay, guys, I forgive you." Well, Wanda Wolf, being new to the group, she just didn't know what to think about all what was going on. I mean, she got a bag for all of her stuff from Piggly Wiggly and Squiggly's mama. And then here comes Mr. Farmer Brown and Mrs. Farmer Brown. He's famous. She stayed in his hotel. Oh, and he's coming down to speak to us. Oh dear, what am I going to say? I don't even know the man. And he's a very nice man, apparently. Wow. And Little Bad Wolf is their son? She says, "I'm going to have to ask my mama about that." And she didn't know that they had adopted him. And so she didn't ask questions of the boys and girls. She was too scared to, because she was brand new to the group. Remember, she just moved in about a month ago. So Whisker Wolf, her twin brother, was looking at her, and she says, "I'll tell you later." So he says, "Okay." So they got off their bikes and they put the kickstand down and they park their bikes, and Mrs. Farmer Brown comes over to Little Bad Wolf, and she hands him her bag, his bag. And she says, okay, it's nice and clean now. She says, now you boys and girls, she says, you go back in the water and have a good time. She says, Mr. Farmer Brown and I, we're going to take a ride. And Piggly and Wiggly and Squiggly, they both said at the same time, well, you could stay here and talk to us. We don't have to go back in the water. And she says, that's okay. She says, Mr. Farmer Brown and I, we haven't been out since last summer on our bicycles, and we're really wanting to go and see how, see if we can still ride. We may not be even able to be riding. Well, of course, she knew that was wrong because she had ridden down to the lake in a perfectly good manner and wasn't tired. Her legs didn't hurt. So she said, that's good. That's going to be fun. So off they go. And you know, boys and girls, there's a lot of paths in the woods. Some of them have a place to go, and then some of them just stop right there. So you got to turn around again and go find another path to go on. Well, they really had a good time because the first house they went by was Bunny's house. Now, she's relatively new to the group, too. And Patty says, oh, my goodness gracious, we forgot to invite... she remembered that when she saw Mr. and Mrs. Farmer Brown go that way, she remembered that's where Bunny lived. And she said, guys, we forgot to invite Bunny to play with us today. She said, shall I go back and get her, or shall we just don't say anything and wait till the next week we go? And Allie the alligator says, that's kind of a bad problem, isn't it? And Little Bad Wolf says, I think we should all go to her house, and we should invite her and her brother. Was his name Bobby, I think, wasn't it? I got to look these things up, boys and girls, because GrandMommy forgets too much. He says, I think we need to go in a group, not just you, Patty. We'll hurry, we'll walk fast, and we'll go in a group, and we'll ask her to go with us today, and we will apologize to her daddy that we forgot to ask her. Because with her being new in the woods, you kind of forget, you know, that who's in your class and everything. So they did, and they knocked on the door, and their daddy came to the door, and he says, well, hi. He says, wow, what a nice big gang you've got here, boys. And boys, he meant Piggly, Wiggly, and Squiggly, because you remember he met their mother when she was helping Mrs. Farmer Brown, I think it was, to give a party. I think that's what it was. So, sorry, GrandMommy's hands hurt. So he asked him in, and so Patty Pig spoke up first, and she says, Mr. Bunny Rabbit, we have something to apologize to you about. I completely forgot all about it, but I need to invite Bunny and her brother Bobby to have fun with us today. We have plenty of food already. If they can just get their swimming trunks on underneath their clothes, we can go back and swim. And we have a tree that we're going to go on later on to read. And so if they can bring a book, we'll put the book in our backpack that Mrs. Piggy made us, and we'll carry it for them. They could bring a jug of water. And he says, well, that is so nice, boys and girls. He says, thank you so much. And he went to the stairs, and he said, Bonnie and Billy, where are you? Come down here, please. And down the stairs they came. And they were so surprised to see all the boys and girls in their living room. And they thought, oh my gosh, are we going to have a party? And Daddy didn't tell us about it? What's going on? Well, Daddy told them what was going on, and that they were going to spend the day at the lake, and they were going to spend the day in the tree, and they were going to sound like they had going to have fun. Well, they were completely surprised, and so Patty says, now run upstairs and put a bathing suit underneath your clothes, and then come on back down. We got everything else. Grab a book, and grab a jug of water, and we'll carry the books for you. Well, most of the kids had room to carry the jug of water for them too, you know, so that was good. So they went back down to the lake, and they put their bags, their sacks, their backpacks, whatever you want to call them, they put them over there underneath the tree, because they wanted to keep the water, cool, And most of the boys and girls had ice in theirs. Now, I don't know if Bunny had time to put ice in hers or not. They hurried her so quick, So they went back in the lake, and oh, they were having such a good time. Oh my goodness gracious. And somebody said, my tummy's rolling around and growling. I think it's time to eat. Well, you know who that was. Allie the alligator. Yeah, he always wants to eat. I mean, how do you think he got so tall? He eats all the time. That's why he's so tall. He's taller than Little Bad Wolf. And Little Bad Wolf used to be the tallest in the group. So they go back out of the water, and they sit down underneath the tree. Oh my goodness gracious. Some of them had egg sandwiches. Some of them had tuna fish sandwiches. And some of them had bologna sandwiches. They were having such good food. And then don't forget was the orange with the peppermint stick. Well, Piggly Wiggly and Squiggly knew how long it took to suck all that juice out with that peppermint stick. So they knew it was a long time. And Mrs. Piggy, thank goodness, she had enclosed a whole package of napkins. And she says, now, don't you throw these napkins away on the ground. She says, you make sure they're in your backpacks and you bring them back to the house and I'll throw them away. She says, I don't want you littering on the ground. So Squiggly spoke up, and he said, guys, he said, I know we're all anxious to eat the orange with the peppermint stick. And he says, I can tell you right now, boys and girls, he says, it's awful good, because that's what our mama gives us every Christmas. So he said, why don't we eat our tangerines here, or at least one of them, and then we'll do our orange and our peppermint stick while we're sitting in the tree reading our books. Oh, that's a wonderful idea, said Wanda Wolf. She just thought that was just great, So that's what they did. They got through with their lunch, and they ate one tangerine, because all of them wanted one tangerine later on, either when they were walking home or when they were playing. They saved one tangerine. Boys and girls, I think that Friday we will find out what, if anything, did something happen while they were up in the tree reading their books? I don't know. We'll find out. So, Friday, and I will try to put a notice on the top of what time, because you notice that GrandMommy's late today, because GrandMommy was doing other things. So I will put a notice on Friday to what time, okay? And we will find out how the boys and girls got up on the tree that can't climb. Of course, you know the answer already, between Little Bad Wolf and Allie the alligator. And we will find out what they've been reading. And we will find out if anybody had an accident with their orange and their peppermint. And I hope they don't, because if you sit in a tree and you got your book down here between your legs and you're reading it, you're trying to hold on to this orange, maybe they should eat the orange before they read and not open their book up yet. That's probably a good idea, isn't it? Because they just might drop that orange, and then it would get dirty on the ground and you wouldn't be able to eat it. I bet that's what, you know what, I think I'll suggest that to the boys and girls. I'll tell Mrs. Piggy, since I know what's going on, I'll tell Mrs. Piggy that she can tell all the boys and girls on Wednesday morning when they come to the Piggy's house. That's a good idea, don't you think? Because you don't want to have somebody drop an orange. What about if somebody was walking underneath that tree? And maybe Sally Skunk's little sister Sadie, you know how little itty bitty she is. She's just, she's just that big. And she weighs 3 pounds though now. She gained that pound, remember? Well, her little hands are kind of small. And if her orange doesn't fit in her hands and she happens to drop it and somebody walks underneath the tree at that time, that's going to hit him on the head. It sure will. It sure will. So, boys and girls, GrandMommy says goodbye. And goodbye, mommies and daddies, and grandmommies and grandpuppies. We will see you Friday. Okay? Bye-bye. Oh, I haven't been on for so long. What did we forget? Boys and girls, do you remember what we forgot? Comment, like, and share. Okay? I want to see some of those buttons pushed down there now. Okay, bye-bye.